Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you really want to see how the free mass media, the corporate media works, you just pay attention to important pieces of news. They either get ignored or they are used one time and then immediately dismissed, or maybe if you're lucky, they're going to bring counter arguments or ridicule the piece of information. In this case, that's kind of like a total silence coming from the mainstream media regarding this important, I think, piece of news, which is the Pentagon, the US military, is going to get into some secret surveillance activities if you embarrass the generals. That means if you, or God forbid I, get engaged in, saying Mark Milley is an idiot, they're on me, which I think they've been on me for a long time anyway. But maybe not the Pentagon, but now Pentagon is also on the branch. So on the branch of FBI, CIA, NSA, who knows what else and who else, and now you have the Pentagon on the same branch. Do you think the branch will be able to support them, or is it going to break? Well, I hope it's going to break one day. So what do we have here? We have the Intercept. So the Intercept reports, not the big media. The Intercept reports this, and I have the same thing coming from the bad Russians, obviously. And then we have again the bad Russians. Let's start with the original, Intercept. Right here. Pentagon's Secret Service trolls social media for mean tweets about generals. A document shows the Protective Services Battalion uses sophisticated surveillance tools that can pinpoint anyone's location. They can do this just by using, telling, Verizon, we have this, you gotta let us do it, and they will. Remember the January 6th things? They were given the information from the credit cards without having any warrants, anything like that. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. All right, when the chair of Joint Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley, enters into his scheduled retirement later this year, one of the perks will include a personal security detail to protect him from threats, I understand that one, including, quote-unquote, embarrassment. So, the U.S. Army Protective Services Battalion, the Pentagon's little-known Secret Services equivalent, is tasked with safeguarding top military brass. The unit protects current as well as former high-ranking military officers from assassination, kidnapping, injury, or embarrassment, end quote, according to Army records. Really? No problem. The country's national security machinery has become increasingly focused on social media, particularly as it relates to disinformation. Various national security agencies have spent recent years standing up offices all over the federal government to counter the purported threat. Well, and I'm quoting, the ability to express opinions, criticize, make assumptions, or form value judgments, especially regarding politic officials, is a quintessential part of democratic society. Yeah. So what they can do is get some information about you using certain kind of methods. All right, so that's not something that's new. So let's see what information they give us here. So let's read here. This, and I'm quoting, this is an ongoing PSIFO-/PIB, Protective Services Field Office/Protective Intelligence Branch, requirement to provide global protective services for senior Department of Defense, I understand that, DoD, officials, adequate security in order to mitigate online threats, direct, indirect, and veiled, the identification of fraudulent accounts, and positive or negative sentiment relating specifically to our senior high-risk personnel, the document says. The document goes on to describe the software it would use to acquire a, and I'm quoting, reliable social media threat mitigation services. The document says the PSI, an open source web-based toolkit with advanced capabilities to collect publicly available information, end quote. The toolkit would, and I'm quoting, provide the anonymity and security needed to conduct publicly accessible information research through misattribution by curating user agent strings and using various egress points globally to mask their identity. Well, the Army plans to use these tools not just to detect online threats, but also pinpoint their exact location by combining various surveillance techniques and data sources. The document cites access to Twitter's Firehose, which would grant the Army the ability to search public tweets and Twitter users without restriction, as well as analysis of 4chan, Reddit, YouTube, and I don't know how you call VKontakte, a Facebook knockoff popular in Russia. Internet chat platforms like Discord and Telegram would also be scored for the purpose of identifying, I'm quoting, identifying counterterrorism and extremisms and radicalization. All these are obviously subjective things. A lot of people could be considered extreme or radical. It doesn't mean that, they would be this and that. Though it's unclear what exactly those terms mean here. I say the same thing. Oh my God. So they get all kind of sources, and what they do instead, Army Protective Services Battalion investigators would seemingly combine social media data with a broad variety of public and non-public information, all accessible through a quote-unquote universal search selector. These sources of information include, and I'm quoting, signal reach discussions from illicit threat actor communities and access to around the clock conversation within threat actor channels, public research, CCTV, fields, radio stations, news outlets, personal records, hacked information, webcams, and perhaps most invasive, cellular location data. Well. The Army wasn't just looking for surveillance software, but also tools to disguise the Army's internet presence as it monitors the web. So the Army procurement document shows it wasn't just looking for surveillance software, but also tools to disguise the Army's internet presence as it monitors the web. The contract says the Army would use, and I'm quoting, misattribution, deceiving others about who is actually behind the keyboard. The document says the Army would accomplish their thought falsifying web browser information and by relying Army internet traffic through servers located in the foreign cities, obscuring its stateside origin. So that means, it's more and more here. You can read it on your own and find out how much these guys are planning and what they're planning for us. And they're already doing it, but not the Pentagon. It seems like the Pentagon is up its game right now. I personally, I'm under this kind of feeling. They already know everything. I think everything because my conversations with other people. So if I don't tell you here, I don't like these glasses because I don't think that would be good for me to say it here. I'm pretty sure I said this to a friend of mine. I texted it to a friend of mine, and I know that's possible. I know they could retrieve that because as much as I know, if you use Edward Snowden's information with NSA, all this gets anyway recorded somewhere and stays there for good keeping. So when they say, okay, who's this? Gigi. Let's go. Pak, whoop. How do you think that you find tweets and other pieces of things that people posted and deleted? They show up after 20 years, not 20 years, 10 years, 12 years, and they say, oh, we just got this information. How do you think they got this one? And it was long deleted. Do you think that someone took a snapshot of that then? How do you think they got it? They got into your computer. How did they get it? Oh, well, there's many methods, Emil. Well, I think it's not only hackers like those guys there are other kind of hackers around, and they have access, free access. I can tell you for a fact, I work with certain, not with this kind of things. No, I didn't work with this kind of things. But I know when a subject committed a crime, and he was fleeing, he fled. In this case, he fled the scene. He was abducted in about between, I think it was 30 minutes. 30 minutes. He fled with a car. He turned off his telephone, I think, or I can't remember if he did or not. But anyway, he was abducted in 30 minutes, driving around, far away, by police cars, pop, right there. They accessed a certain kind of communication devices, and others, they found the car in a second. 30 minutes. And I read the report, by the way, so that's a different thing. Many things like this, and this is just I would say, petty police department. I'm not talking about FBI or NSA or CIA or the Pentagon. These guys, if they want to find out anything about you, they're going to find out more than you know about yourself. So why hide? Well, you can't be the dumbass, to really say certain things that would harm you just like that, because people can take anything you say, put in a certain kind of context, and then say, oh, see? My point is this. They already know, or they could know. The problem is when you become, uncomfortable. When you become uncomfortable enough for them to spend some time, then they will activate. Do you think that some friends that you have, or I don't know, or people that follow your Twitter account, or maybe some people on YouTube, or maybe some people on your Facebook, or not only that, or LinkedIn or something, not only that, do you think those guys are who they say they are? So why not invite everybody? Because some of them might be this and that and that. We don't even know those people. Or you're not going to invite them, they're going to enter anyway. It's so, I don't know. These guys, I'm going to be like in the communist times. Hey, don't talk this loud. They might listen to you. Yeah, they listen to you because you're so important. But they could. And they were listening to you through devices bought from the West. Those, the secret police in Romania, communist Romania. Why? I know that. How do I know that? I spoke with someone who worked with that. He said, you know what kind of tools we had? Both from the West. Why? Because they had the best way of listening to their people. How do you think they have it? The surveillance. We got them from them. We bought them from them, and he told me the countries. Yeah, my friends, so don't even bother. If they want to find out what you said when you were angry or drunk, they will find it. Right? It's just a matter of time how uncomfortable you become. And then they come and tell you, hey, Gigi, change the side of the cassette, or the whatever you got, the vinyl, and change the whole tune. Otherwise, here it is. Again, I know that direct experience. You know who's reporting you? I've been told. I said, no, your best friend. Your best friend is the most likely source that reports people. Why? Because they know the most about you. And he said, you know how? Because they get blackmailed. Because each and every person somewhere has something that he did wrong. Knowingly or not knowingly, or could be interpreted. And they get blackmailed. That's how it worked in communist Romania. I know that for a fact. Okay? I didn't work in those kinds because I was too young then. But I know from people who did work in those kind of activities that your best friend was the person who was reporting you. How? Because he did something and they were blackmailing that guy. You're going to go to prison 5 years for this. Are you going to say, or are you going to go for 5 years? You're going to say something. You're going to work for us? And not only, the wife of your best friend, the children of your best friend, someone did something somewhere. As someone else said, don't do anything, don't commit anything anywhere, even if you go and take a shit in the middle of the forest at midnight. It might be that someone else is taking a shit as well, about, 20 feet away from you, and you don't know he's already there. So, I'm not trying to scare you or something like this, but believe me, we live here in a society that is the most controlled society that ever lived so far. They talk about the Chinese, the Russians, the communists. Those are toddlers. Why? Because of the technology, my friends. And if you think that the desire is not there, you're just fooling yourselves. They have the technology and they have something else. You know, when you go on a trip, if you sleep and someone wakes up about 3 hours before you and start walking, they're way ahead. When you wake up to start doing the same thing, you're 3 hours behind. This is United States and this is the rest of the world in these kind of things. Why? Because of the technology. They started early. They're far away. I'm not saying that Russians don't have it. They all do it. Why? Because of the security. Do you think that they just let you say and do things like that? They monitor you. Once you become a little bit too big, look what happens with the big guys with the big newspapers. They go and check them. They're checked. And then someone, oh my God, he did something. He watched some porn sometime. Oh my God, he accessed this and he. Oh no, I didn't. Yes, you did. You never hear about that person. By the way, where is Gonzalo Lira? Where is he? Where is he? He's been gone, what, a month and a half, almost two? Why is the Chilean government saying anything about him? Nobody's gone. You don't know if he's alive or not. The same. If you disappear or I disappear, you will never find out what happened. To me, you never have. How would you find out? You say, Emil disappeared, got his money and he went to Tahiti. That's all you're going to imagine. You're not going to know what happened to me. So, you know, who's going to know? 10 people? And what are those 10 people going to do about it? Tell you? How? They're going to make a video on YouTube and tell you that, hey, Emil was taken by the, who, this and... So, yeah, my friends, remember the gulags? This is a more civilized way of dealing with us. More, you know, they dressed better, they talk to you a little bit nicer, and but the whole show is the same. It's the same show. It's more glittery, you know, shiny and more civilized and more decent and all that. But the essence is the same. We can up if we want. So zip it, change the tune, or face the consequences. I know. Oh my God, you're crazy, Emil. I hope it doesn't happen, but there are many examples. Many examples. Look what happens to Trump, for instance. And Trump is a powerful person, supposedly. And not only Trump, you can take other examples. Look how other people are sheltered. How? Work for the system. Do not go left or right. Follow the script. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.